Hello, everybody, and welcome to G3G on YouTube. It is Napalm Dawn. Today, we're here in Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux Beta 5.6, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce a possible PvP team for you to use when Beta 6 drops. So, a few disclaimers that I typically have to get out of the way in the beginning of the video to stop the questions that I'm still continuing to see down the comments. Beta 5.6 is a internal tester build only. It is a closed beta. It is not available to the public, so you will not be able to get access to it. It was released to the testers so that we could provide feedback to Goofy and the development team, run the first 11 spec ops through their paces, run these characters into the ground, try to find where the bugs are, and then report them back to the team. At this point, don't worry about telling me about any bugs that you get in Beta 5.2. We have closed up the bug reporting, as Beta 6 is still in the works. Beta 6 does not have an ETA as of yet, but Goofy happened to spring up this week and talk to a few of us, let us know that as he was fixing several of the combat items, a kind of domino effect happened, and he would get 2 or 3 things fixed in combat, and then some other things would unfortunately break. So as you know, Beta 6 was hopefully going to be out in the first quarter of 2024, but due to some of these code issues that Goofy has run into, and personal matters that have taken out some people on the development team and kind of got them really busy with real life items for a bit. It did slow down the development, but you know, in all honesty, Goofy's always produced betas when he said that they are coming out. Sometimes the dates get missed. It happens. I mean, it happens in AAA games and everything. But Beta 6 is still coming out. Hopefully, we will get it at some point here in the future. I don't have an ETA as of yet because I don't really know how hard the code has been to fix. Beta 5.2 is accessible to the public. It will be linked down below. It has the first spec ops in it, and many of the characters in Season 1, not the full roster that you're going to see here in the version of the game that I'm running, but still a pretty sizable chunk of the roster. You can go through a lot of Season 1 story, and you can go through the first spec ops and recruit Mockingbird. So, let's go ahead and get into talking about this team. Now, as you've been looking at my screen here as I do this intro, you might be realizing something is a little bit amiss. Maybe you don't quite know what it is, but maybe you're like, wait a minute, something seems a little off on Napalm's roster. If you thought that, you are correct. There's a key character missing here in the beginning of the roster, and that's Hawkeye. The reason why Hawkeye is missing is because I manipulated the code slightly and replaced Hawkeye with our girl Psylocke. The reason why I did that is because Psylocke is part of this PvP team that we're going to talk about today, and God did I miss Psylocke. I absolutely loved her combat animations and her sounds, and the ability to use her again. Real nostalgia trip for me. It hits me right in the feels to be able to use her in combat now. I used X-Force Psylocke and X-Force Archangel in 2 very distinctive periods when the game was live. I used the 2 of them when the Mark of the Brotherhood gear had dropped from a particular spec ops, and it was really good for mutants. It kind of gave them rally where they could do some quick actions, and Psylocke's X-Force suit worked really well with Archangel's X-Force suit. But you guys may remember many teams using Psylocke early in Season 1 when she got released, and honestly, Quicksilver and Psylocke was probably where most people know of her, and the team was called Quicklock, which was a reference to Quicksilver and Psylocke. And of course, you had Quicksilver branching out, working with Magneto, working with Juggernaut. Psylocke, I think, mostly stuck with Quicksilver at the time, and then later on, when the X-Force suit started popping up, she got some life back in her kit, and then she would often get teamed up with other people. But she is one of the major components of this PvP team. And the other one that we're going to be taking out with us is Emma. I didn't realize her Phoenix 5 costumes. Oh yeah, actually, no, I did, because I have this one ready to go. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and use Phoenix 5, Emma Frost, the tactical version. You could absolutely get away with the infiltrator version. Her organic diamond passive does help her resist scrappers a little bit. If you remember when that passive kicks in, Emma gets very, very, very tanky. She is extremely tough to take down. Now I'm going to go ahead and discuss a little bit of what my agent is using for gear. Psylocke's level 9 does extra damage to people who are affected by weak mind. It specifically exploits it. Now, any psychic attack on somebody with weak mind has their damage go up. However, Psylocke actually exploits it. So not only does it do more damage because of weak mind and psychic attacks having synergy, she actually turns around and adds more damage because she exploits it. If you want to get weak mind out on the enemy team, there is plenty of gear the agent can use to do it, and I'm running the skullripper and the mindkiller. So the skullripper comes from Spec Ops 2 gear. It actually comes from Emma's Spec Ops, so it's really easy to get. You encounter this particular piece of gear when you're just going through that Spec Ops, because first you get the Skull Splitter, and then you upgrade it. Skullripper puts out weak mind on the entire enemy team, and it's up for 3 rounds unless they clean their debuffs. So this is a really good piece of gear to set up psychic teams. The mindkiller, even though it sounds like a Dune reference, is a similar gun, except it is a single target. If for some reason you do not want to open up with a AoE gun, maybe you got a scrapper and there's some bruisers, or maybe you got a tactician, there's an infiltrator, you can use the mindkiller and just do single target. It exploits weakness, but my team is not actually going to go into that debuff. And again, this comes from Spec Ops 2. So 2 pieces of gear are super, super easy to get. The other piece of gear that I'm running is the Cosmic Cardinal, which is available when you're doing the Havoc Spec Ops, and then the transcranial stimulator, which comes from the store. So 2 pieces of standard researchable gear. You literally fall and trip into these 2 guns. This is a store purchase, and this shows up in the store when you're doing the Havoc Spec Ops. Now, you can do the Spec Ops in any order. So you can actually go through the Emma Spec Ops, get Emma, get the guns, and then jump immediately into the Havoc one and pick up the Cosmic Cardinal. There is other psychic gear the agent can run. For example, you can run the custom only for killing, which does psychic tap just like Emma does. However, when you are running against somebody who is immune to psychic attacks, like say Colossus, you want to make sure you have other things that you could do. Otherwise, he's going to laugh and you're not going to be able to hurt him. So ignore the fact that so many of the people here are Bobby or Mockingbird. It's just a little bit of a asset glitch over here. All right, so it looks like we are running against a Fantastic Four team here in PvP. My agent is going first, and in this setup, that is what I prefer. because the skullripper getting weak mind out on the enemy team as soon as possible just ramps up the damage and efficiency for this team. I'm a scrapper. There were no bruisers over here, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the whole team. Not a huge amount of damage, but the gun is mostly about setup. Enemy agent used Pyrotava on Emma. The debuff is not supposed to go out because he missed, but that'll be fixed in Beta 6. I'm going to go ahead and mental trauma everybody and give them migraine, which means they do damage. Also, she's doing pretty good damage. Invisible Woman hits us with the AoE spheres. So, at this point, if Weak Mind was not out, I would go ahead and hit Mental Coordination, and then I would wait for the Weak Mind to go out. Because it is out, and two characters are a little bit low on hit points, I'm going to go ahead and open up with the Psychic Knives, which, as you see there, where it says Mental Prowess, hits against target with Weak Mind are guaranteed to be crits. So, let's take advantage of that and try to crit the enemy agent. Pretty big damage, almost dead, and there's the follow-up from the Cosmic Cardinal. Cosmic Cardinal is a great piece of gear to run with Psylocke because she has that butterfly effect and the mental coordination and everything. She does extra attacks. Now, uncanny X-Force members aren't going to exist for a while, so you're kind of going to ignore the butterfly effect, but the mental coordination is really where it's at. I'm going to go ahead and hit Invisible Woman, and she is deleted. I, for some reason, have an extra turn. I'm not really too sure why. I'm going to go ahead, hit Mr. Fantastic, almost kill him. Emma is going to do the unlock potential on herself to get rid of the burning. He's not. Mr. Fantastic is just going to melt. You can kind of see how this team works. One of the earlier pieces of gear that I was considering is a thing called the Advanced Idea, which says that the entire enemy team takes a huge psychic attack after 3 rounds. Even though it's a quick action, honestly, everybody was dead by the time the attack was supposed to go out. I don't use it anymore. I have the Cosmic Cardinal in instead. Okay. Psylocke is going first, which happens pretty frequently. Weak Mind is not out. I'm going to use Mental Coordination. So now, hopefully, when I do single target attacks, other teammates will jump in. Doesn't always happen. Okay, so we've got a Scrapper, we've got a Tactician Blaster. Let's use the Skullripper. It's funny, the Skullripper has an audio that sounds like it has multiple hits, but it does not. Hobbled and fumbling. That's not good. Okay, so we see Emma Frost's P5 abilities have been proccing. That's what the flames are. Let's hit everybody with mental trauma. That sounds really bad to say. But now everybody has migraine, which means they're going to do less damage. There goes Organic Diamond. So now you can see Emma's barely taking any damage. Does that not give you the heebie-jeebies? Remember when Emma was just so tanky? Okay, Psylocke's turn is up. She has used the mental coordination, which has given her the psionic shadow. That means my level 1 telekinetic katana is now going to be a quick action. I'm going to shut up and let you enjoy the sound effects of her doing her level 1. Does that not get you right in the feels? Like, is that not such a glorious sound to here. I'm going to go ahead and Psychic Knives the enemy agent just because he's on death's door. So. Oh, those P5 passives were so good. I'm going to use the transcranial stimulator on Daredevil. It's probably going to kill him. Yeah, that is a strong gun, but when somebody has weak mind, it's even stronger. If I were to Psychic Tap Captain Marvel, she's going to die when Psylocke hits her. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and use the stun. Yeah. This is a solid team. Now, the only thing that will slow down you from using this team when Beta 6 drops is the fact that Psylocke comes from a later PvP season, and in order to go through PvP, you have to do it linearly and in order, which means you have to do the Deadpool season to get the Cable, you have to do the Cable season to get to the next PvP hero. So it's going to take a little bit for you to unlock Psylocke for her to use. However, once you unlock her, you can be all ready to go and have Emma recruited and have the gear that you see me using, and then you can go ahead and start using her in PvP. Now, again, we are leaning into Psylocke's psychic attacks on this, and she also really likes to do additional attack teams. People who have multiple attacks, like Quicksilver, because he has all those multi-hits and everything. People who add additional attacks, like Infiltrators, Union Jack, when his passives are working properly, the Agent with counter gear, like the Bishop and Cosmic Cardinal. That is truly where Psylocke shines. But you still can also slot her into psychic-related teams, and she wrecks things. I have been impressed with this team up over here, and honestly, there's a good chance that I would use it when I have all of this gear and all of these characters ready to go when Beta 6 drops. It's been a fun team. Emma can go ahead and get rid of nasty debuffs if you need to. She can raise the stats of the team. She can give stamina back. She can weaken the enemy team's damage. This is a fun team. And the gear is honestly pretty accessible. Oh, Force Cage, huh? So if Force Cage says I can only use subtle or defensive abilities, I'm going to honor the fact that that is a thing, even though I might actually be able to operate inside the cage right now in this beta. I'm going to pretend that it is functioning completely correctly, and just do this buff to give my agent back some stamina. Okay, so she actually repelled that because she's in the cage. Psylocke at this point has the psionic shadow. She has the mental coordination. So I'm going to go ahead and use telekinetic katana on Doctor Strange, which will be a quick action. And then because weak mind is out, I'm going to go ahead and use psychic knives on him and lock him out of some of his abilities, and also do some pretty good damage on him. There goes that Phoenix buff, and I remove my debuff so I'm not burning. Everybody has weak mind, so we don't need to use the AoE. I'm going to do the transcranial stimulator right on Invisible Woman, and I hopefully... Okay, I'll just kill her. just straight up killing him. Doctor Strange is not supposed to get extra attacks like that, but he's getting these passives because my Doctor Strange has the Defender uniform, so he's sort of absorbing that passive over there. Also, aside from the fact that Emma can give energy to somebody, take debuffs away from them, and also give them increased stats, don't forget, if somebody's really in trouble, you can give them the kinetic shield. Now, if you have the psionic shadow, this becomes a quick action. I love Psylocke's abilities. I really do. Love the animations that step in sword swing. Love the sound effects from it. Always one of my favorites. Alright, Emma is out of the force cage, so I'm going to go ahead and try for the stun, which we get. Get a follow-up from the Cosmic Cardinal. Has weak mind, so we're going to use the Psychic Knives. And then follow up with the Telekinetic Katana. This might melt the enemy agent. I would like to get a Psychic Tap in from Emma. Emma will actually kill him in the process of applying the Psychic Tap, unfortunately, but, you know, sometimes that's the breaks. But Emma is capable of hitting about 1,200 to 1,400 damage Psychic Taps if they have weak mind. And then the Psychic Tap procs, it is a really, really good amount of damage for PvP. It's about a third of their hit points. So, there you go, guys. There is a Psychic team that you can go ahead and use in Beta 6 when it drops. There is the Cosmic Cardinal in the store. That is because of having gone through the Havoc spec op, so that's not particularly hard to get. You just need the gold for it. The other two pieces of gear down here are simply farmable by going through the Ember Frost spec ops. I shouldn't say farmable. I mean, you're just going to encounter these guys naturally. And then the transcranial stimulator can be bought from the store. If you don't have the resources to get this, you can get the custom only for killing by doing a particular story mission and hoping to get it in the roulette. And that's it, guys. There you go. There is a Psychic related team to use in PvP when Beta 6 drops, and honestly, it's been really fun to use them. Not really seeing too many weaknesses, and then with the Phoenix 5 costumes being available, Emma becomes that much stronger. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you later.